over the last year, I've spent, well, Shannon has some excellent experience. She's been the president of SAC. In a lot of ways, that's similar, I'm sure, to the experiences that I've had as the president of my fraternity and as the president of the Interfraternity Council. I think a lot of the experiences that I like to point to that make me unique are the failures that I've had. I've learned the importance of interpersonal relationships as the manager of an organization. When I was doing Shockerthon and being president of SAE at the same time, that's something that really hit home with me, was that I felt disconnected because I wasn't taking the time to reach out and form those personal relationships, and that's something that I've done better, I believe, as an IFC president, and something I really want to bring into the office.
I would say what specifically makes me best prepared for this is my experience as SAC president. I specifically have experience working with an organization that is volunteer-based, so I have experience motivating people that are only there because they're volunteers, which is similar to SGA. Additionally, I have experience creating a team and a bond. My exec board is really close, and I worked really, really, really hard over the past year to make sure that that happens. And I think something that makes me really stand out is all of the training and education that I've received from the staff and student involvement. I've had the opportunity to work really closely with all of them. So I've attended training sessions, diversity sessions, and all sorts of things like that.
Okay, my response to that is that that does sound like an excellent experience. I've also been involved in volunteer-based organizations. Obviously, Shockerthon is 100% volunteer-based. I'm also an Eagle Scout, and I was a leader of my troop. You can't get more volunteer-based than that. So there are plenty of lessons I've learned as a leader of those organizations, and it's something that I also hope to bring into the office.
Vice President Glover, 1 minute to
Okay.
speak about this one.
Sure. Like I mentioned previously in my response, I have learned so much by being SAC president. I work so closely with wonderful people, and I have a lot of experience motivating them and really finding out what personally drives them, what their why is, what they can bring to the table. I also am very passionate about being an advocate for people that may not always advocate for themselves. I'm always somebody that looks out for somebody in the room that's not talking, and I'm really good at engaging people in a conversation. Really good at getting them involved, getting them invested, and my experience as a SAC president translates directly into what I would be doing as the vice president of the Student Government Association.
Well, Justin and I have both, he served as the president of his fraternity. I currently serve as the president of my fraternity, formerly the president of the Interfraternity Council. And from those experiences, I've learned the importance of leading with direction, being able to share a vision, and then execute on that and follow through time and time again. Just an example with the Interfraternity Council. The reason why I assumed the role of president is because I knew it needed a lot of improvement. I knew it required bringing all the different constituent chapters together, figuring out our needs, addressing those needs, and then enacting a solution. That's just one example of my experience being president. I also think being involved with student government for the past 3 years, I've been able to serve under presidents. I've been able to witness their failures, their successes, and see what it takes to be a reliable president and an impactful president for the student body.
Matt and I both have similar experiences like you talked about, and both been the presidents of fraternities. One thing that I've done a little differently is the organizational culture of my fraternity when I took it over. I will admit freely it was not a good place. A lot of bad things were happening at that time, and I believe I changed that culture, and something I'm very proud of.
I think I'm just kind of building up on that. I feel like I've been prepared to be the student body president just from my various experiences. I represent the student body as a student ambassador, so then speaking with prospective students, that's allowed me to really get to know what the university stands for, so that I can be a recruiter for the university. Also been involved in different organizations, different philanthropy, community service opportunities, and each of those opportunities has built me up to be a better leader, develop the skills that I think are required to be a student body president, reaching out to local governments.
Given this is, you got 1 minute to answer what experiences prepared you for this job.
So I talked a little bit about the beta thing. I've also been heavily involved in ISC, including the ISC Chronic Board. I've also served on SGA as both the Senator and the Supreme Court Justice. I believe my time in SGA has allowed me to have some experience there, but not become a huge part of the culture. It's also is a good time for me. I'm done being the president of my fraternity, so I have more time to devote to this as a single goal, and I'm really excited about that.
I know both Justin and Shannon have been involved in student government, but I think it is very important the emphasis placed on historical context because student government has Different administrations bring different tones, different cultures, and different ideas. And being able to serve underneath 3 different administrations from my freshman year to now has allowed me to kind of gauge the different plans, see what works and see what doesn't. And then once, if elected president, I'll be able to use that historical context to plan for a better future and know how to enact on that.
The only thing I have to say is that I believe that although some experience in SGA is good, I believe I can bring people onto my ticket and within my party to have that same historical context.
Well, kind of the important thing to note is we don't have one very specific project that we'd like to work on. We have our 3 pillars that says what we've done, what we want to do, and how we're going to do it. But then we have what we've highlighted as key issues that we would like to address. So no one specific big project that requires a bunch of money to invest in it, but I can kind of give you an overview of the different issues we'd like to talk about. Student health is one issue. We know that student fees are paid for student health services. We also go to the Raglan Student Center, but we also realize, having served on the student fees committee, that student health is in need of some more support, such as counseling and testing. For the growing student body, they need more support, especially with an anticipated big freshman class coming in to help move student life forward. And then another thing that we'd like to work on is transparency. And that's just about being visible to the student body, really working to have strong social media presence that people follow and respect and look up to student government as the governing body of the student body, student organizations, and student safety. For my freshman year, I've heard that harped on time and time again.
30 seconds to respond to that.
I think that some things that are really important to Justin and I are obviously that we've mentioned branding, the strategic plan, and then we've learned a lot of things on the campaign trail that we've gotten from different student organizations that we've talked to that I think are specific goals and projects that we could work on in the next year.
Response to that?
Sure. I actually just had one thing come to my mind. I know it's something the current administration campaigned on was an interfaith prayer space. And just my background, I'm very interested in Middle Eastern culture, have a lot of Muslim friends. I'm reaching out to Muslim constituencies on campus. That is something they're still looking forward to. I know it's currently kind of at a roadblock. We're waiting to hear back if that's feasible with the physical plan and other resources on campus. But that is something that I'm committed to because I know how important it is to that very large constituency on campus. It's something I'm looking forward to investing my time and energy into bringing about.
1 minute to speak about your goal for SGA project.
The main goal for our SGA is the strategic plan of Bardot. He has a several-year plan. We want to adapt that, find out what initiatives SGA can help with, find out specific issues within that, whether it's building a new SGA center and that kind of stuff, and making sure SGA is part of that experience.
I think a project that I have specifically is really just listening to different students on campus. Like I mentioned, meeting with students. We also heard about the interfaith prayer space. We've also talked about a Muslim fraternity potentially coming on campus. We heard about transgender bathrooms last night. I really want to advocate for people that maybe don't always have a voice in SEC, and that's what I'm here specifically to do.
3 seconds to respond.
I think strategic planning is an admirable goal, but I think it's also just part of the function of student government. It shouldn't be something that is considered a policy item, in that we have some very specific goals that we want to achieve over the next year that will go along and be incorporated in that strategic planning piece that we will be working on at the very beginning of our term.
Yeah, I very much disagree that that can't be a goal of the SGA because Bardot's been several, and many people spend a lot of work on that strategic plan, and I don't see why SGA can't do the same thing.
This is something that Brandon and I have been sharing with our organizations we visit in classes. We like the other campaign. We've known them personally for the past few years. It's not that we dislike them as friends, it's just that we think that our experiences, our ideas are better suited at this time, with considering the university's momentum, that we'd be able to best prepare to assume the roles of president and vice president. A lot of that talks about our experience, our preparation for this campaign. We took it very seriously, been planning since winter break, from the get-go, weekly meetings, and that's something that we would carry forward into student government. Acknowledging the historical context, where the body, the association has come from, is key to preparing for the future, and I think that's something that Brandon and I bring to the table.
One thing I would say is we have also played since winter break. We may not have had the money or the stickers and everything else to put into it. We're just not the type of people. I was actually raised on a farm. I work every day to do that, but we're planning and we care a lot, and we've discussed everything, and we put a lot of work into this campaign.
Thank you. Yeah, I hate for there to be any misperceptions that Conklin or I come from money. I actually come from a single parent background with 2 sisters, and I work very hard every week to raise the money that we did spend on our campaign. But we do believe in investment in the student body and in your leadership on campus. And Matthew is also from an agricultural background. Certainly doesn't come from a wealthy family by any means. No one's not to insult Matt.
Okay, something that I think that we bring that the other ticket does not is that Justin and I don't have any commitments for the upcoming year. We have all of the time in the world to invest. I quit the organization that has defined who I am at this university. I will not be participating in any active leadership role on the chance that I will get the opportunity to step up in SGA. So it means the entire world to me for us to be able to step up and to give back to the university that's given so much to us. I wasn't excited initially about coming here, and my experiences have completely changed who I am and made me the person that I am. And I want to share that and bring that to SGA. And we have the time and those experiences and the passion for SGA that we bring to the table.
Sure. I really appreciate that. I think it's important to have the focus and commitment to the leadership positions that you hold. And I know some people try to use that against me or use it as a point for open criticism. I will still be the president of my fraternity, but just a little bit of my historical background. I've frequently held 3 to 4 executive positions in different organizations at the same time, while holding, thankfully, a community GPA of around 3.8, receiving different accolades. And I don't use that to boast, but I just use that as kind of context for what has prepared me to run for student body president.
Yeah, Shannon and I are just excited for what we can do. We've had that experience. We have the diversified background. We both served on SGA, and we're just looking forward to use that for the good of the student body.